welcome back to the Spider's Web. As I said, what I'm going to do is give all the red parts a wash with the Deadzone Plague, which I've done. As you can see, because it's the darker red, you don't see it as much, but it's still there. I've also painted one of the dogs red, so that one's going to get the wash now, just so you don't miss out. So I'll show you exactly what happens when you give a Deadzone Violet wash to a red model. You can see it's not a startlingly massive difference, is it? But still, you're getting the shadows where you want it, so that's the important thing. There we go. And that's going to be highlighted and whatnot when the wash is dried. Okay, so that's that over and done with. Next, what we're going to be doing is finishing off this young chappie. And to do that, what we need is Scorpion Green. I'm not sure what its new equivalent colour is. No doubt somebody else could tell you that one, but all I know is that I've got still got the old GW colour, so that's the one I'm going to be using. And as I did with the first model we did of this game, we're going over. Actually, I think I'm going to change brushes. I think I'm going to go to this brush that I use for the Deadzone Violet wash. We don't want a great deal of this green on the brush, but no doubt that's better coverage. Oops. We do want some on, because we're not doing what's the word I'm looking for? We're not doing a highlight colour. As I've said in the previous video, this is the actual colour of the bone. The dark green is taking the part of the shadow areas. This is the actual colour, so that's why I'm putting a little more than a dry brush on these. I'm going to have to touch up on the reds by the look of it as well, because I've gone over there, but hopefully that will all get covered over once I start the highlighting with the lighter coloured pinks. There we are. And don't forget, this is going to get a wash as well over with black, or with the null oil. So there we go, that's that done. Next, what we need to do is get the pink colours on the go for the fleshy areas, and I will need my narrower brush for this. Okay, so we're using the Wazdaka red, and we just need a spot of that on our palette. And as per usual with my palette, it's a scraggy old CD. and we need lots and lots of white to go with that. And we're looking for a nice mid-ranged, mid-toned rather, pink, which we seem to have there. So I'll just wash my brush, get a little, wash my brush, dry my brush thoroughly, and then get a little of this pink on my brush and just waft over all of the model, because again I want to give this the look of it being raw muscle and sinew. There we go. And I was hoping not to have mixed as much of this as I have done, but never mind. A bit too much on there. What I'm going to try and do is cover up on the raised areas of the red parts without going on the green like I just have. Never mind. Yeah, so if you do go over any of the raised areas of the green, then don't worry about that, because you're going to be going over with yellow next. Is the extreme highlights for the green, so don't worry about that. It will disguise itself. There we are. And now his other hand, and then we can do his head and neck. And there we are. And again, with this pink, we are going to be going over with a Carrollburg Crimson wash for this fella. The stage 1 models we've gone over with the Druici Violet wash after it's been extreme highlighted, but with these big ones we've gone over with Carrollburg Crimson. So while that's drying, I'm going to get a little bit more white. Okay, a lot more white, because we want this a very, 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 very pale pink. Again, wash our brush, dry it thoroughly, and then we can add the extreme highlights to all the fleshy areas of this chap. And as I say, we want it incredibly pale. At the moment. Here we go. I'll try and get it where it's going to be hit by light, not where it's going to be in shadow this time. And I know I've probably gone over some places where it is going to be in shadow, but not to worry. Once the crimson wash goes on, that will hide some of it as well, and then we can come over again and highlight a little more. Oops. And finally there we are. Now I've done that so soon after the standard pink rather than going over to the yellow, because with this being acrylic paint it dries very quickly. So while there's still some of the medium pink on the palette, then what we need to do is just get the oh dear, we get the white in again to make it a very pale pink, and that way it we're not wasting paints by having to mix more a little later on. Okay, so again here we are going to be doing just the raised areas, so we don't want a lot of the yellow paint on the brush. This is much more of a strict dry brush than the previous layer. We do want to see each of the, well, I want to see yellow on it, let's put it that way, but we also want to see a lot of the Caliban green and the scorpion green, or whichever equivalent of green the new name is. If you're painting along with the same colours, then you probably have the newer version of the scorpion green. I was lucky when I bought that. It was I didn't get it from Games Workshop, I bought it from a hobby shop that has a license to sell Games Workshop stuff, and they still had some of the older coloured paints on sale, so I was quite lucky when I picked that one up. But there we are. And there's our chappy done for the most part. What I have just noticed I've missed, oops, what I have just noticed I've missed is his arm underneath there with the scorpion green, so I'm just going to knit back to that, and then just a very small area there. Right. There we are, that will do. That will do indeed. Oops. There we are. I'll just go under here as well, just on the safe side, because I missed there as well. I don't think I could have got there with the brush, that's why I left it. Okay. So there's the basic painting done. I think now that, because I've gone over with the yellow, the pink should be done. When I say done, I mean dry. So what I'm going to do now is get the Carroburg Crimson out. And give all the flashy areas a coating with this. It will make it much more redder. And then when we come back, when it's dry, we can just go over again with another very pale dry brush, I'll start that one again. When it's dry, we can do another pale pink dry brush, an even paler pink dry brush, almost white. Then also once it's dried as well, in fact before we do the dry brush with the yellow, it's more advisable to give the green bony areas a wash with the Nuln Oil. I wouldn't do the Nuln Oil wash yet until this is dried, because you don't want the two washes bleeding into each other. You want to keep them separate, so wait until this one's dried, then I'm going to give the bony areas a wash with the Nuln Oil, and then once that's dry I will go over the flesh areas again with the very pale pink, but I will show you how it looks once it's done. But that's the general thing. While we're here, I'll just colour in this doggy. And we can give this a wash at the beginning of the next video, or what I might do is I might already wash this one, then I can do both dogs in the next video. That might be the easiest aspect, so I'm not wasting paint. So here goes. So I'm really looking forward to getting these finished, and then I can try and learn how to play the game. I know somebody else at the games club has this game, so I may see if he's painted his Enforcer faction. If he has, I might see if he fancies a game. I did get, I don't know whether I mentioned it last night, I did get an extra set of the building sprues for this offline on eBay. So I've been having a play with those and put a couple of buildings together, a little bit of a watchtowery type thing, and a smaller building, but unfortunately we've run out of clips again, so you don't seem to get many clips, unfortunately. So I'm going to be having to buy another set of clips, possibly two sets of clips, just so I can finish off the building and make it look that little bit better. Because although I'm gluing them out, I like having the clips on there just to make sure it doesn't is not going anywhere. Okay, so on the, oh god, I've missed an area. I've missed his hand. Okay, so there's the other dog. I've done it in the lighter red than this one. I've done that one in Evil Sun Scarlet rather than the Wazdaka red. But whichever red you prefer, if you're going to do in this colour, then whichever red you prefer. And that looks as though it's dried enough for me to put that wash on. So that is what I'm going to do once I find the brush. There we are. Okay, so using Nuln Oil, it's gone a little bit better than I thought it was going to. Well, not a little bit better, but a little bit further than I was planning on doing for this video. Not to worry. What we're trying to do is get the Nuln Oil over on the bone areas. We're not looking towards getting it on any part of the flesh, just where there's bone. We want it to be dulling down the bright yellows and the green. And I know there's a couple of areas here where the Caribou Crimson hasn't dried fully, but it's enough, it's dried enough to be able to get away with doing this without it bleeding too much. So it's dulling down the green and more importantly the yellow, because it does look a little too bright for what it's supposed to be. So as I say, these washes are wonderful if you can get the right effect with them. They work absolutely fantastic. And it's just a case with the washes of just blapping it on and letting it pool up in the recesses and then allowing it to dry. There we are. So that's that done. So we have this fellow done, and that fellow done, and that fellow done. In fact, that one there is ready for his Druid's Violet wash. So let's get on with it. Let's do what we can while we're here. Alrighty then. Blap the wash on. Yes, don't be spurring with this. Just slap it on. You want it to darken down the red. You want it to build up into the recesses to show where the shadows are. So you want the wash on here. So stick it on and let it do its bit. Let it do what it does best. There we are. And once it's all dry, we can come in then and clear up a lot of the highlight areas. There we go. So that is what we've done so far. So when we come back, as I say, it's a case of with these two, that one's finished. To all intents and purposes, it's just a case of highlighting with a very bright pink, or very pale pink rather. So we can do that after we've done these two. So next step when we come back, the plan of action is we give these two the wash of the medium, not wash, the dry brush with the medium pink. Then we'll mix some paler pink, do these again with the paler pink, give them a wash with Caribou Crimson or the Druid's Violet, whichever, and then while they're drying, what pink's remaining I will add a little more water to, and then give this one here going over with the incredibly pale pink. So that's the plan of action for the next video. Well, the next video in this series. We will have another video coming up in between, which will be an unboxing video, but so until then, take care, God bless, and bye for now.